All right, what's up, good people? Welcome to the podcast, Conscious Connections. I'm your host, Nicole Blackson. Today we have Twana and we have her wife, Michelle. Welcome to the show, y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
All right, y'all.
Finally get here.
I know, right? It's been a while.
Yes.
All right, so we're going to hop right into it. First question, what does it mean to consciously connect? Either
You
one.
want to start, Michelle, or you want me to
You can go.
Well, I think what it means to me to consciously connect, as far as being in a relationship, first I go to the word conscious, which means for me that somebody got to be connected to, somebody has to be connected to God, to the universe, to whatever you call, to whatever it is that you say is your
Source.
So I think a conscious connection starts there. Somebody in a relationship have to start there.
For me, a conscious relationship means being intentional. It's a commonality between two people that are wanting to see growth, not only in themselves, but with each other. And with growth, we know there comes a lot of communication and trust and all of those things we know we want in a relationship. So just be intentional about what you both want.
Yeah. So that word growth, just like bing, bing, because it's like when people say, this is just the way I am. We're not consciously connected. You know, it's almost impossible when people are stuck on who they were even yesterday and not be able to just embrace the moment. Was there a time where either one of you were able to pinpoint, I was preparing for this relationship right here?
Well, I think for me, a couple of things led up to it. I had been in a relationship. That relationship ended. And I was very intentional about love. I was focused on love. I took a love workshop.
Yeah.
And then I went away on a retreat. And I was with this lady who does body work. And so I wanted to have some body work done to release so I could open up to more love. And so we were in right outside of San Francisco.
Okay.
And so we went to the beach. She said, let's go to the beach and do it. And I said, all right, let's go to the beach. So we went to the beach. It was me and her and another person who was with us. And so she found a spot. We got out, walked down the steps, walked to the left. We found a spot. And over to the right, there was a couple getting married. And she said, I want you to take note of that couple that's getting married. And in my mind, I was thinking, she is really tripping. She is really tripping. This was in September of 2013.
Okay.
So we went, did the body work, and it was magnificent. It was a really good release. And then I just got up and, that was that.
Yeah.
And then in October 2013, I met Michelle. And we met on online through one of those dating apps, right? And so my rule was I had to see your picture.
Right. Absolutely.
Like you could write a whole bunch of stuff, but I got to see your picture.
Absolutely.
So the day that we had agreed to talk, I was in class. So I couldn't talk. All I could do was text. But I said, let's text. I'm having class, but we can still communicate. So we started communicating, and I was like, yeah, but send me that pic. Right? Like, I was like ASAP. Right?
Yeah, before I get all entwined.
Right, before I get loose into it. And so she sent me her picture over, and I opened it, and right away I said, my wife.
What was it?
I don't know. I mean, I've seen thousands of pictures. We all seen thousands of pictures. It was something about, because I hadn't heard her voice. It's just something in me knew
So what about you, Michelle? How do you feel like you were preparing for this relationship?
For me, I think every relationship before Twana was a preparation for her. And I say that for her because this doesn't negate the relationships I've had with other women.
Absolutely.
But you kind of go in knowing if this relationship is going to go anywhere. And so I've not had many relationships, but I knew the last relationship I was in before meeting Twana that it was coming to an end. And so as Twana stated, we did meet on an app, but for me, honesty is very important.
Yeah.
And I told her I'm currently in a relationship, but it's coming to an end. We knew it was coming to an end to begin with. Words weren't spoken. So I got my behind on this app and Twana had a picture posted, and what drew me to Twana was that she was different. Like she said, words wasn't spoken. We hadn't heard each other's voice, but something about her photo was different. And when we finally connected, she paid the money to get my email address. I want to point that out because I didn't pay the money, she did. So we exchanged.
Oh, like on the app?
Yeah.
Oh, you fancy. I do free ones. I don't have.
No, it was free to join.
But she paid the extra to get the information. Yeah.
There you go. Right. We were going basketball. I'm not paying.
It's budget bowling.
Right. So she paid. We exchanged. Oh my God. We exchanged numbers and the conversations went well. And we lived only 10, 15 minutes away from each other.
And never seen each other at the market,
Never.
at the park.
Most of my relationships were long distance or out of Philly because I know the communities, the LGBT community can be very small and everyone knows each other. It is, right.
It is.
And I didn't want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
You know, so most of my relationships, I was heading up 95 or, the other way.
So how long after that did you break up and end the other relationship?
The day we met
in person.
It
was a Sunday.
It was on. Yeah.
And the reason I remember it was a Sunday because I went to church. And after church, I went somewhere and I called Michelle to say, hey, what's up? And she asked me, what are you doing? I said, I have some people coming over. And that's not my normal thing, but I had invited some people over. We were going to cook and, fellowship, be together, whatever. And so Michelle said, well, you didn't invite me. And I said, well, you can come over. It's cool. You can come over. There'll be food. So by the time Michelle got there, everybody had left except for one person. Yukari. And I said to Yukari, listen, this girl's coming over. I haven't met her. We only talked on the phone. Yeah. And I said, if I need you to hang tight, I'm going to do this. That means don't go nowhere.
I don't want to be alone.
Right, no. But if I do like this, that means
get up out of here.
Right, get on out of here, right? So Michelle finally came. We had already cooked and ate. And so Yukari walked down with me. We walked down the apartment complex. And Michelle, as soon as you meet Michelle, she throws that smile on you. That $1 million smile she got. So we saw the smile. I saw the smile, I should say. And it was just a very warm greeting. And we went on up. And as soon as we went to the apartment, she said she had to go to the bathroom. And I knew right away.
She was checking out your business.
Right, she was checking my business.
Yeah, she came late so nobody would be there. And she wasn't going to your bathroom right away.
Right.
She just wanted to check out your business. But go ahead.
Business, right? Yeah. And I was like, okay. The pictures match. They ain't nothing, too much craziness going on. So I was like, all right, Yukari, beat it. So she came out of the bathroom, Yukari left, and we ate. But one interesting thing happened. And I pay attention to everything that happens. And she had bought a bottle of wine. she bought a bottle of wine, but I didn't have a wine opener. So we researched on YouTube how to open a bottle of wine without a wine opener. And it probably took us about 15 or 20 minutes to get the bottle of wine open. But we did it together.
Yeah.
We didn't argue. There was no pushing, no pulling. It just kind of came together real easy.
Yeah.
And I thought in that moment, oh, if we have to do things together, we can do things together. That was my first. That was like, okay, this might be something.
Yeah. Was there another time during a relationship that you all felt the most connected doing something together?
I'm just being quiet so you can answer.
Okay. I don't know. We do a lot together. We are attached at the hip. The first thing to come to mind would be projects that we have at home. If it's painting the garage or putting something together, I can be very headstrong at times. And if things don't get done my way, I can elevate to another level. But with Twana, I think just any interaction we do with like activities, that sort of thing. Yeah, I don't know if that really answered the question.
No, it does.
But
It does. What about you?
Well, I probably would say that our whole relationship has been doing things together. When I met Michelle, I was in graduate school, and so she had to do that with me. And then she was working at a job, and that job dissolved, and then she decided to go to school. So we did that together.
Yeah.
And then shortly after that, I graduated, and then she graduated, and I became the associate minister.
Yeah.
And then the senior minister passed, and I became the senior minister. And then she graduated again. And so our whole relationship has been doing things together.
Yeah.
That would probably be a good way to describe our relationship. There's been ups and downs. We've dealt with death. We've talked about money. We've family.
Yeah.
And so it's been that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not, I wouldn't say it's one particular thing, but it's just been that way. A number of things.
Yeah, that's nice. I want to touch upon the ups and downs, but before that, you mentioned something, Michelle, about being attached at the hip. So what was my experience with y'all two is like, here I am going to Centerpiece. I mean, faithfully every Sunday, right? And it's not until I come into the class, and it's like, oh, this is my wife. You married? and you're in a class that Rev, is facilitating, and you're a student like me. So I found that to be so beautiful, yet so different in a way, right? From traditional experiences growing up in the church. You always see the first lady. She right there in the pew. First pew. She right there every Sunday. Right? So to not have seen you until we got to class, and you're not co-facilitating, you're a student. So to me, that was just like, because on a personal level, I have always struggled with feeling like I teach a lot in my professional life, right? How does that work in a relationship? When it's too much? How do we interchange that role? So I always thought that was one of the most like beautiful things that I saw. That was like, because I swear, you're married. It was like, oh. So how is that experience for you?
Oh. What I love about our relationship is that it's not traditional.
Yeah.
When people ask me, who's your partner, who's your spouse? And I say, oh, she's Reverend T or this and that. And then they look at me like, you're married to a pastor? Because I believe in always being authentic.
Yep.
Bringing my full self to the table. And I don't I've never been a person to, just because you're a pastor, the CEO of a company, whatever your title is, that does not faze me, because I'm going to still be who I am. I didn't grow up in the church. I went to Catholic school. I didn't grow up in the church. So meeting Twana and getting to learning about science of minds and what it involves and what it entails, it piqued my interest.
Yeah.
And it's still peaking, because surprisingly, I am not a member of the Center of Peace.
Yeah.
But what I love about Twana and our relationship is that we truly live on the principle of be who you are.
Yes.
Just because she's the pastor does not mean I need to accept the role as a first lady.
Yeah.
I support Twana. I support the Center of Peace. And that's where I am right now.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. It's just so different from like my normal experiences. So it always just like, this is very interesting. So for you, Rev, like how, as you know, you've given me a lot of leadership in the area of a relationship, love. We talked about spirituality. How do you factor that into the relationship? You talked about going to church the day y'all first met, so this has been a part of your walk. How do you factor your spirituality into your relationship with Michelle without it being something that you're trying to necessarily get her on board with? Like, what part of you still shows up?
Well, I think that I've never tried to get anybody to come along with me on my journey. I just understood and still do understand that I said yes. She didn't say yes, but I did.
Yeah.
And so I have to respect her choices and her decisions. And how do you keep a balance? Well, I wasn't ever looking for a first lady.
Yeah.
And in fact, I'm glad that she's not a first lady in that way, because I can just be who I am.
Yeah.
When I'm home, I'm not Reverend T. And I like that. And I like that she doesn't have that expectation, because it would be hard to keep. But when the moment calls for, some the setting of some values this is our starting point. Instead of it just starting from anywhere, then I can bring that into the conversation, because that's true whether you are in religion or not. Love and compassion and communicating from your heart and sharing what you need to share, even if it's hard. That is just not confined to somebody who is having a religious experience. Anybody can relate to that. And that's how I take it to Michelle. I don't take it to her. I don't take Bible scriptures to her. I don't even take science of mind stuff to her.
Yeah.
I just speak from my heart. And sometimes she can hear, sometimes she don't. Know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sometimes she ain't right there with me, but that's okay, because I understand that she might not be with me in that moment. Sometimes she is, and it might take a year, might take 5 years.
Yes.
And at the same time, I wanted to have somebody who would call me on my, can you cuss in here or not?
You can cuss.
Somebody who would call me on my shit.
Yeah.
While she's not involved, if she she will, show up as Reverend T to remind me, and sometimes I need that.
Yeah.
And she's not scared, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
she's not scared to do it, because she's just being who she is.
Yeah, but that goes back to that growth aspect of not only growing yourself individually to be the best version of yourself, when possible, but also being a mirror for that other person to do the same.
Absolutely. Yeah.
How did you recognize that you were changing in the way that you were loving with each other?
An emotional, baby?
A little bit.
That happens.
Because
that happens.
what's funny, we have these conversations often.
Yeah.
And for me, there has been a drastic change from who I initially was to where I am today. And for me, growth is very important. We were just having this conversation. One of the things we were very clear about is that we wanted this relationship to last and not be another lesbian relationship that lasts 5-6 years.
Yeah.
We're going on 7 years married. Yeah. 9 years.
You say 5 or 6, that feels like a lifetime, but go ahead.
It does.
You know they usually last about 12 months. 5-6 years. Like, you just say that casually, like you know those people.
Look, maybe a
Who
year
are
or
these
two.
people? Yeah, a year or 2. 5 or 6 years.
I was being generous.
Yeah, you were being uber generous.
We know lesbian relationships don't typically last that long.
Yeah.
It's hard finding, for me, let me just speak from it was hard finding someone that I could trust and be my full self. Meeting Twana, or it could have just been me saying for the first time, I am going to show up as me. Whatever that looks like that day, however she feels, that's just how it's going to be.
Yeah.
But growth, I know, happened for me when I started communicating with her. I am not a big communicator in relationships. I am one, you piss me off and I'm out the door or I'm done. I knew right away I didn't want that with her.
Yeah.
I wanted something different. And I said to myself, Michelle, if you want different, you got to do different. And I want to say 2, 3, every year there's growth, because New Year's Eve, we talk about the year.
Yeah.
What do you think, how do you think the year went for us? What challenges did we have? How can we overcome? What can we do different?
Right.
So we've consciously made an effort to do that every year. We are not always on the same page when we come together. But I'm realizing that it's okay. A relationship, you're not going to always see eye to eye. You're not always going to be on the same page. But allow the person to communicate their feelings, however they're feeling. Listen attentively to them.
Yeah.
So it's just conscious, just going back to consciously wanting to do things different and make this union, this marriage last. And so growth is very important. If you're going to stay stagnant, you can't move forward in a relationship. So every year there is growth.
Yeah.
However small it may be, it's going to move us to that next level.
I like that. What about you, Twana? How did you change?
How did I change?
Yeah.
I think that the first thing was just being centered on love before we met, that period of time. One thing became very clear to me is that in a relationship, I'm not seeking to get anything. That was my premise going into it. I'm only here to give. I'm only here to give the love that I know. I'm only here to share with you the joy that I experience. I'm only here to give you whatever I can give you.
Yeah.
And I don't want anything from you.
Yeah.
I'm connected to my source. I'm connected to my source. So I think having that mindset for me, when something would happen between Michelle and I, when we were bumping heads, I knew that the work for me was to turn inward. And so Michelle has been my greatest opportunity
Your greatest
to
teacher.
grow, to
Yeah.
teach.
Yeah.
Because
Preach to the choir.
I could lie to everybody else, but the principles remain the same.
Yeah.
Truth
Yeah.
is eternal.
Yeah.
So my turning inward was turning to truth. And every time I turned to truth, then that means I had some work to do. So, and being willing to do it. And, when you want to be with somebody, you'll do the work. When you want peace, you'll do the work. So I would say probably for me, that was the biggest change in not ever blaming Michelle.
Yeah.
I rarely blame Michelle for anything. I mean, we don't do that.
No.
Yeah.
No.
At least not outwardly, maybe inwardly, but
Yeah.
so those become really, really grand and epic and majestic opportunities for me. Maybe and Michelle might not participate in it with me because I have my own process. But you know, I always get back to peace. I always get back to joy. If what we are going through, if it's not on my list, like deal breaker, then I know I got work to do. And sticking with it.
Yeah.
Because it can be tough, challenging.
I mean, just the whole insight into not placing blame. It's like, how do you tell the story? You know, in regards to what happened. You know, we talked about that. What happened to you, through you, you know, all of those things. So it's like, it changes the whole conversation, the way you even think about it. One thing I was thinking of as you all were talking is just trying to see, how can I word this? Just now it's swirling, because that right there is heavy to me. Heavy and light at the same time, right? If you can master it, not to place blame. Because I just feel like it's such a human way to say, you did this. You need to stop. You shouldn't have done this. I told you about this before. So to just be able to say, like, there is no blame here. I'm always able to look inward. If it's not, you know, a deal breaker, right? So I guess some of those things is, besides authenticity, what are some of the values you all said yes to? When you said, yes, we're going to be married, we're going to start this life together, what are some of those other values that you said yes to? I know you mentioned honesty. What else?
Communication.
Definitely communication. Just creating a safe place in our home where we can express any emotions, good, bad, or indifferent. Yeah. You know, being respectful, always being respectful, always being in gratitude for self and then for us as a couple.
I think the other thing that we said yes to very early on was to have fun and to laugh and to joke. You might not know it, but as soon as the alarm clock goes off, you know, it's like I'm cracking on her, she's cracking on me. It doesn't stop, and I'm not joking. Yeah. And this has been going on almost 9 years. You would think you would run out of material. But, but you don't run out of material. And so for me, I had to grow thick skin because I could take it a little bit, but Michelle, she pours it on. Yeah. But she met her match. Yes. And I can give it right back to her. But I think, you know, that laughter and the friendship that surrounds the laughter is really what we said yes to, because laughter and joking is our way of communicating hard things. Yeah. Okay. It's our way. We figured that out. This is how we communicate. We don't do it like that. Yeah. We do it like this, and it works for us.
It works, yes.
And that works for us. So, and you know, we laugh a lot. I think it's few days that we don't laugh. You know, and that for me is very important. Yeah. And having a friend that you can laugh with. She's my friend. She's my wife. She's my friend. She's my wife. She's my confidant. Yeah. You know. And so and we let each other be that. You know, she doesn't always have to be my wife. Right. Sometimes she's my friend. Yeah. That's okay. Yeah. Or whatever it is that we need in that moment. Would you agree?
I totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, that's like your full self, though.
Yeah, your full self.
Yeah. You're not always just a wife. You know, being all romantic. Sometimes you just chilling. Yeah. You know?
Right. some days you don't even have to put a label on it. You know?
Right. Just be.
Yeah, but I think, laughter and just having fun together is definitely top on the list. And that we do it every day. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we do it so much throughout the day. Twana or myself will say, "You think we being too silly?" Or, "When are we going to grow up?" And I said, "Never. We're having fun." But she's right. When we do try and tackle those tough conversations, we have to joke about it. Mm-hmm. You know, because sometimes you can have a serious conversation or an important conversation with someone and you immediately start here. Yeah. And I don't work well that way because if I'm here, I'm staying here. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we laugh, we joke about it. Then Twana be the one that say, "Okay, Michelle, that's really, you know."
Can you give us an example of one of those times where it was something pretty heavy? Y'all may start out joking, but it's something that y'all had to get through. What were one of those topics?
I would probably say, just off the top of my head, maybe with money. Mm-hmm. 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 And how we wanted to come together with our money. You know, it took a couple years. We were married. She had her account. I had my account. You know, boom, boom, boom. Yeah. And we were both so serious about it that I said, you know, well, I think we need to, you know, have a talk about this.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, because, you know, I might say something like, you know, you like your mama, you like to spend money, you know. And I'm married now, and I'm thinking about long term. I'm thinking about retirement. I think about stuff like that. Getting married made me think about stuff like that.
Yeah. Yes.
So, you know,
and I wasn't on board yet.
Yeah, no, I'm saying it like I'm married. Like yes. But as I get older, it's like yes, it is not the same. Nick single is like. Go with the wind, you know, I could be down here frolicking. Right. After that, you know, if I'm not homework, you know, I'm in the house by 6, you know, I'm thinking about these things, retirement and stuff, budgeting, you know, it's so different. It's so different, but it's still good, right? Because it just shows like the level of commitment and what's required. You know, for that space.
And it's not easy.
But you were going down fighting, huh?
I was going down fighting. I wanted to hold on so I can go shopping when I wanted to. Needless to say, that came to an end. You know, I'm on a budget. Yeah. Or she put me on a budget. Yeah. But you know what? I needed it. Mm-hmm. Because again, going back to growth means, Michelle, we need a budget for both of us. We want to start putting more money in our retirement account. Yeah. We want to start investing. So when I got on board with that way of thinking, I was fully on board. Yeah. Now, I might have backslid a little bit, you know. But for the most part, yeah. I mean, it's not an easy conversation to have even today. Yeah. But we have the tough conversations because we know where we want this relationship to go. I mean, we're in our 50s, so I'm ready to, you know, retire. Yeah. In another, 10 years? Yeah. So, you know, that's, finances, I think, for a lot of couples, is, you know, could be.
Yeah, they say that's the number one reason.
Yeah.
You know,
go ahead.
I'll say, well, I'm going to go down and take a look at the books. And she'll go, "Honey, I love you." I'm like, oh, God. So, but you got to use the tools that work for you.
Right.
Yep.
So I would say that probably that was a hard conversation.
Yeah. So with the budget, gosh. I want to ask these questions, right? Because we know, like they say, that's the number one problem. People get divorced. So people are going through this, trying to have these tough conversations, and maybe they started, but it got too heated. They bailed out. You just keep your stuff, I keep my stuff, right? And then it's no long-term plan together. So how is it working for you with the budget?
It's working. Because she will not budge. You know, I'll ask for more money. I want to do this. I want to do that. Well, Michelle, you know, she keeps me grounded. Yeah. You know, the conversations I don't want to have, but I know we need to have them. But I think the conversations surrounding finances have been okay. Yeah. You know, there's no argument. It's not like we're not doing this anymore. We're not butting heads because we're on the same page now. And I know if I ask for more money, she tells me no, I'm upset for a second, but I understand it.
Yeah.
So I don't go, I'm easy on her now.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you all are, I know you get this a lot, Rev. People come to you, singles, couples, and I'm sure they ask you too, well, what's the secret, right? What do you do to keep it authentic, good? How do you stay connected? What would be your advice to those people? And these are for our listeners, right? They can be single, they can be coupled, they can be like you, knowing you almost out the door, but I'm preparing for my new.
I think communication. I think communication is key for any relationship, be it with your partner, a family member, a friend. Nobody can read minds.
Yeah.
So being able to communicate and be honest about what you're communicating, I think that's important. Even if the other person is not on board with what you're saying, it's okay.
Yeah.
But be true to yourself always. Don't try to be someone you're not, because eventually that lie is gonna show. It's gonna rear its ugly head. Well, that's not what you gave me 8 years ago.
Yeah.
So communication, definitely.
Yeah, I think what you said is right, and being your authentic self. I mean, who wants to wake up to somebody else? Like, oh God, you know, especially at this age, you don't have time for games. I don't have time for games.
Yeah.
I don't. I take my time very seriously.
Yeah.
Who I spend it with.
Yeah.
And so, but to answer your question, I guess, what's the secret? There is no secret. The relationship will be what you make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you don't put the effort in, then you can't expect it to be anything. It's like with anything. It's like with exercising. If you don't put the work in, you ain't gonna get no six pack. You know, it's the same thing with spirituality. If you don't put the work in, principles ain't gonna work in your life. Yeah. It's the same thing in relationship. You gotta put the work in. Yeah. And that's, you know, that's not always even. Sometimes maybe I'm doing the heavy lifting, or sometimes Michelle is doing the heavy lifting, and sometimes it is here, you know, where we are, you know, balanced and on one accord, and not being a stickler with that, letting it be what it's going to be. Because, you know, I mean, you can go with the flow or you can go against it.
Right. That goes back to your point of just like really going inward and being here to give, not wanting to get anything back. But I feel like a lot of today's relationship advice and what they're telling people, reciprocity. But what if for this month you ain't got it to give? Am I supposed to jet? You know, so what do you think is a question that somebody could ask during that time where they know that they're putting in more work than their partner and it's not really coming back, you know, automatically, directly from that partner? What are those questions that a person could ask? Because I feel like with a long-term relationship, they're going to be ebbs and flows. Absolutely. Like you said, you're not always going to be right here.
Absolutely.
Well, I guess for me is, number one, because I'm not out to get anything, I don't have any expectation to get anything back from Michelle. So if joy seems to be absent, if peace seems to be absent, I'm not going to Michelle to get it. Yeah. So if it's not being reciprocated back, if I'm in a state of thinking that it should be reciprocated back, I know I'm off track. So then I know I need to go back in and do some work. So I'm never seeking anything from her. Yeah. And I'm not saying I've been perfect at that. Yeah. Because there have been moments where suddenly I found myself with an expectation, number one, that I didn't communicate to her. Number two, she couldn't have done it because what I was seeking was peace. Yeah. So really, when you move into a relationship in that way, be prepared. I'm not just seeking it from Michelle. I'm not. So if it's not being reciprocated, then I have choices to make.
Yeah.
I have some real clear choices to make. And that's where the difficulty comes. You know, when you have to make your own personal choices and decisions. You know, for example, we have this thing with the TV. And because Michelle likes to sleep with the TV on. She likes to be in bed and have TV on. I like the lights out.
Yeah.
I like the TV off.
Talk about my life. Go ahead.
So that was probably our greatest.
Yeah.
And so at first,
The bedroom is for.
Right.
It's not for.
It's not for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so at first, I gave in, right? And I knew that I couldn't, because it was a reflection of our relationship to me. So I needed to stand my not stand my ground, but be committed to me. I know what a good night's sleep does for me. It's like it's heavenly for me.
Yeah.
And so I just really wanted to share that experience with her in that way so she could understand. But it's still, you know, it's still a challenge, but it's got better.
It's got better.
You know,
We have a schedule.
we have a schedule.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know. I'm sorry, Nick. I forgot where I was going with this.
No, you answered it though. You answered it though. I love those stories. That's funny.
Yeah.
You think that these things are like mad trivial, but it's 25 people at least on the first night listening like, yeah, see, I told you the TV. You know, so it happens all the time. I feel like in most people's household. Anything you want to add to just in regards to like the reciprocity piece, that idea of it.
Oh, that's where I was going.
You did answer it though.
Right. Okay.
I just kind of piggybacking off Twana is that don't have any expectations. And, you know, when you don't get what you want, if you aren't communicating or expressing how you feel, then guess what? You're not going to move on.
Yeah.
You know, it's okay. Because one of the things Twana and I try to do, if I'm not in a playful mood or if I don't feel like he and hi, I let her know. Like, I'm not there right now in this moment. So, you know, I don't know how that makes her feel. But for me, you know, I'm thinking about myself. I'm being selfish. Sometimes you have to be selfish in a relationship.
Yeah.
But she understands that. And she'll back off. But then she'll come back half hour later. I throw her a look like, didn't I say give me something?
Yeah.
But it's not going to always be reciprocated. And it's okay when it doesn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. That's I mean, I'm telling you, when I do these interviews and these conversations, you know, like I said, I'm the student here. You all are teaching. So I just appreciate that so much because that is a basic, right, concept, but it's profound to actually do, right? Not to blame. And you go inward and you focus on yourself and you're here to give. One thing that I learned in your class, Rev, that stood out to me was that you talked about sacred giving. You got to give to yourself before you give. Or you have to receive before you give. That's how you said it. And it's like, because you got to give from the overflow. I'm supposed to be in overflow before I give. So it's almost like, well, I can't go outside yet. I can't talk to anybody yet. I need to go inside first, right? How do you all give to yourselves as individuals? Because I hear a lot of you both talking about be your authentic self. You know, I don't have any expectations. I'm not blaming. This is my journey. I'm sharing it with her. You know, so what do you all give to yourself? And we're going to close it out on that. How do you give to yourself? How you fill yourself up?
For me, it's self-care. You know, make it, you know, Twana and I do spend a lot of time together, but it's okay when we're not together. So being alone, if it's shopping, out in the yard gardening, getting a facial, you need that individuality from your partner.
Yeah.
And so self-care for me is very important. You know, as a social worker, I preach self-care.
Yeah.
So whatever that looks like for you, it's important from day to day.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you're stressful. And you don't, and I don't want to bring that, well, we work from home, but I don't want to bring that home to her. Mm-hmm. So self-care for me is very important so that we can,
How do I fill myself up? I think just having a spiritual practice, number one, that's the first thing for me. And then physical care, doing some sort of exercise, walking. It's always been my thing. That, and I think that, and this is a new thing I'm just thinking as I'm thinking about it now, I think although I'm not expecting anything from Michelle fills me up. And I fill her up in our own unique way. Yeah. We're together. One of the things that we figured out like 2 or 3 years into the relationship was that when we start to have these arguments, what we really were saying to each other is, I miss you and I want to be with you.
Yeah.
We haven't had enough time.
Yeah.
So when we do get to spend time together and we are having a meal together or dancing or whatever it is, or bussing on each other, whatever it is, it's filling for me. I feel like, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is who I'm supposed to be with. And it's intentional. Yeah. It's conscious. It don't always feel good. Most times it feels so incredible. Yeah. And, so that is filling for me. Because we are always amazed, like, damn, I'm married. Yeah. And it's something about that for me that brings a lot of joy because, I'm married. Yeah. And I don't know if I explained that well, but there's something there for the both of us.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. All right. So thank y'all so much for joining us tonight on the Conscious Connections podcast. I enjoy having y'all as usual. Wherever you came with the pearls of wisdom, Michelle, you added some insight. I got a lot of stuff to think about, but that's what I came here for, right? So I appreciate y'all so much. Thank y'all so much.
Honored to be here.
Yes, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
All right, that's a wrap.